Hello friends, it's Sherry from Turquoise Dreaming. How you doing today? Welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me. I have an exciting little scrappy video for you today. This is my weekend scrappy video that I do one every Saturday or Sunday, whenever I have time on the weekend. And so this one is being done Saturday. So what I did was I saw or watched Natasha at Treasure Books make some really pretty flowers out of lace, and that gave me an idea. So I was like, I really loved her flowers. They really turned out beautiful, and I'm going to try it with lace. But I thought, well, I wonder if I can do that with fabric, and I'm sure this has been done before, and it's kind of reminded me of a yo-yo, even though it's not a yo-yo, of course. But this is my practice flowers right here with fabric, and I'll show you how I did this. This was my first one. This is just like a muslin type fabric, and this was my first one. I thought it came out really cute. I glued a little button in the middle when I was done. This is my second one, and I was just trying to make a smaller one. I don't think it came out quite as well as the first one for some reason. I was just using a thinner strip. See, this is done with a wider strip this way of fabric, and this was done with a thinner strip to make it smaller. You could actually layer these, but this one I put a button on too. And I wanted to use a strong thread, so I was like, I've kind of been trying to think of different ways to use up my embroidery floss too. I know how to embroidery, I just don't have time. I thought, well, why don't I think of different ways to use it so it's not just sitting around doing nothing. So I used some embroidery floss to do this. It's green, and I thought maybe it would show, but it doesn't really hardly show at all, except for where I ended. It started and ended. So, I mean, it shows a little bit on this one, but not enough to really make it an accent or anything. So, but it is a good strong thread if you wanted to use embroidery floss, any color or a matching color. So I was just going to show you. Oh, and this was my third one. I'm going to put the button on this one, but I wanted to try it with some colored fabric. I think this one came out really well. It's kind of, see, it's a little bit smaller than this one, but bigger than this one. So, and look how pretty that is when you layer those. Isn't that neat? So anyway, all kinds of possibilities, whatever your imagination can think of after you make these to do something with them, but I'll show you how I made them. So this is what I started with, just a strip of fabric from my scraps, and this was in there, and then I had some red matching embroidery floss. So all I did was take my strip here. I put this is a long needle. Actually, I use this needle for binding my journals. So, and it has a nice big eye here in the end, and I just put my embroidery floss through there, and it's just a little, you gotta hold on to it so it doesn't come out of your eye of your needle. And then I tied a knot down here on this end, just right on the end. And so we will just get started. This is the back of my fabric, and this is the front. So I just start at one end and close to the edge, and I came up from underneath, just like a little bit from this side here. If you can see, let me show you real quick so you can see how close I am to the edge right there. Right there. Can you see that? There's my needle, and that's the edge. So then I'm just going to weave it in and out of my little fabric here. So it's kind of like a little stitch, a little basting stitch or running stitch, and you just go in and out. Like if I've never made a yo-yo, I do want to do that soon and try that, but right now it's just in and out of your fabric. And I'm starting off slow. I need to go a little faster. I know you guys are going to be like, this is going to take forever. No, it doesn't take very long. So I'll go a little faster here. So once you get going and get used to doing it, now this is my fourth one. This is my fourth one, so I should be getting faster, right? Well, let's see how quick I can get to the other end. I don't want to make my little running stitch too big, so let me go back here. I kind of made that one a little bit big. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything. I mean, if you make them different sizes, in the end, it's not going to matter. You're just kind of, all you're doing here is gathering your fabric, really. the point of this stitch is to gather your fabric. So, and partway through you can start pulling it through if you want, like this. Just start pulling it through so that you have your thread down to your knot. See right there, I got my knot now. And then just keep going until you get to the other end of your piece of your strip of fabric. And I didn't tell you, but this strip of fabric, I measured it before I started the video just to see. So if you wanted a measurement, it is 8 inches long, and I'll tell you how wide it is in just a second. I'll measure that. I didn't measure the width. So let me just finish this weaving here of my thread. And so yeah, this embroidery floss is really strong, so it's nice to have some kind of strong thread that will go through your fabric, but when you pull on it you don't have to worry about it breaking. So that worked out really well with this embroidery floss. So I hope everyone had a great week this week, and that you're going to have a nice weekend, and that you're not in the path of the storm. And if you are, I hope you're, you're safe and sound and tucked away in a safe place in your house or wherever. So yeah, we're not in the path in North Carolina, thank goodness. But I'm from Florida, so I'm very familiar with hurricanes, and I have experienced many. And I even drove home in one time. It snuck up on us in South Florida. One time one snuck up on us, and my boss ran for the hills, and I stayed and got my work done, and then I ended up driving home in a hurricane after it got started. But I got home safe. Okay, so you're at the end. You're at the end, and you're just going to pull it tight until you make a little circle. So let me see if this is going to come out right, because this is only my 4th one. And I noticed, like, this one I felt like it was too loose. The first one was perfect, and this one is really perfect. I love this one. So let's see if we can do that again. So see how it's starting to form our little flower when we're making flowers. And then so I'm just going to kind of overlap my 2 ends of my fabric here. Oh, before I do that, let me tell you how wide the fabric was before I overlap it and can't get the measurement really well. It's like 1 inch in width. So that's what makes this size flower. Flower. So I wove my thread right pretty much to the end there. Okay, now I'm going to overlap, and just like this, I am putting where I started. I think I'm going to put let me see how I want to do that. Yeah, I'm going to put where I started over where I ended there. That seems to work out well. You don't want to make it too tight. You don't want to make it too loose. So see how I have a nice little flower and a nice little center that is coming together. There's you can see a tiny bit of space there, but that doesn't matter. You can, it's cute. No matter, yeah, it's cute just like that. You can make it you can pull it a little tighter if you want, but it's really perfect the way it is. So now our goal is to sew these 2 together. So what I did was I try to keep my little ends here even so that you have a nice even edge. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, yeah. You can always trim it if you get some kind of fabric sticking out. Like I think I might have a piece sticking out right here. You can always trim it, so don't worry about that. Right now our goal is just to get this sewn together. So let me see how I want to do this. I gotta remember how I did it on the other ones. So I'm just going to go up through here because you have to sew your 2 pieces together. I'm going to come up through the bottom here, right kind of near the center, because that's where we're stitching. Okay, so I got my 2 pieces of fabric together, I believe, and make sure everything's even there on and laying flat on the bottom. You're not pulling it too tight. Yeah, let me see. Okay, and now I'm going to go back through. I'm going to go back through the bottom to the back, okay, through both layers of fabric. And okay, so I've got a little loop here. I'm going to run this piece that I just pulled through. I'm going to run it through here, through this little loop that I made when I went back through. Okay, you see how I have a little loop right here now too. So I've already got a knot forming here with this loop. I'm going to go ahead. My embroidery floss came out of my needle, but I'm just going to poke that through that little loop and make another knot here. So I'm going to end up with a double knot on the bottom. And let me see if I think it's tight enough. I might need another knot here. Yeah, I need another knot here. So I'm just going to put my embroidery floss back on my needle, and that will help me make another knot. So you kind of see, you just kind of play it by ear, like pretty much you do the stitching like I showed you. This end part, there's no set. I mean, I'm just learning. I just pretty much taught myself how to do this. I mean, I watched Natasha this morning, but she did it with lace. And so there's no, scientific way to do this last part. I would say just play with it and make yourself a tight little knot here at the end, and try to make your knot on the back so you don't have a knot on the top. Okay, so I'm just going to make another little knot here through, I'm going to go through part of the fabric, but I don't want it I'm not going to let it show on the top. It's kind of like the bottom underneath a ruffle. Okay, so I get a nice tight knot here that's not going to come undone, and then I go through the loop here. Okay, and then see, now I think this is going to make, yeah, that's making a nice tight knot there. I feel better about that. So I'm just going to cut that off right there, like I did my other one. That knot did not go as smoothly as the other one that I just did off camera, of course. Of course it didn't, but I got the job done here. And see how I was saying you can just trim a little. If you got anything sticking out, just trim it off. Here's another little piece sticking out right here. I'm going to trim that off. See if I can make a nice smooth little curve here. I mean, these don't have to be perfect, of course, It's just a fun little thing you can do with your scraps. Another fun little thing you can do with your scraps. And then you can put a button on here. You can layer these, like I said. This one came out a little smaller, isn't that funny? So yeah, you can layer them. You can use them on anything you want, your journals, your cards, whatever you make out of paper, or you can even, use your imagination as to how you want to maybe put something in the middle. I was watching someone make yo-yos, and they put a little flower in the middle. This is a little flower off some silk flowers I have. Of course, they don't match this, but I'm just showing you. I didn't have any to match, so I was just going to show you how cute a little flower would look in the middle. And then you could even put a button in the middle of that. So just all kinds of possibilities. If you can see this real quick, how cute. So just another idea. I hope you enjoyed. I'm not going to keep you any longer, but there you go. Another little fun thing to do, and pretty quick, right, to do with your scraps. So thanks for watching. Hope you like that idea, and have a great weekend. I'll see you next time.